right, welcome back into First Take. We're back with a quick take. Emari Demercado looked like he had sealed the game for the Cardinals yesterday when he broke for a 72-yard touchdown run. However, he dropped the ball just before crossing the goal line, resulting in a touchback. Cam, what did you think about this?
The sad thing about it, Damien, is it's going to be a part of his DNA for the rest of his playing career. Hey, man, you remember that dude that dropped the ball right before? Yeah, that was our boy Demercado. Like, first and foremost, there should be teach tape for individuals who do not have a plan to celebrate. Because as an avid or the appointed judge of touchdown celebrations across the world, a lot of guys that think they doing something ain't really doing it. So therefore, this particular individual, Emari, does not have to look far. Ask the film guy to say, hey, can I go back and look at this particular individual that played for this franchise for a long amount of years, and then he never really celebrated and always celebrated with his team and always gave the ball to the referee? Larry Fitzgerald, bro. Larry Fitzgerald scored a lot of touchdowns, and what did he do afterwards? He give it right to the doggone referee. Bruh, you're wasting the church's money, it's words can't even come out because of that's how messed up you did. Just imagine going back home, your brother, your sister, your girlfriend, your wife, your mama, your daddy, everybody like, hold on, that ain't, what are we doing?
Not covering up the jacket.
I don't know him. That ain't my boy. You see what I'm saying? When he doing stuff like that, they was like, yeah.
Hold on, wait a minute.
What he got going on?
Stephen A., what say you?
I'd bench his ass. That's what I do. I mean, somebody got to say it, so I say it. This is what I would do. I mean, you know why? You know why? Because at some point in time, there's some coach that has to step up and do it on behalf of the league, on behalf of the institution. You know, we saw, what's the kid, Mitchell from Indy, do it a week ago when he tried to extend the ball and lost control of it, all because they're showboating. And we got to understand, and let's bring it home. Cam, Woody, you know what I'm saying is true. You know, with the NFL, it's very, very few people that get marketed. You know, Cam, it was you, Superman, it was Brady, it was a few others, but everybody don't get that. When you put on those helmets, when you put on the shoulder pads, whatever, it disguises your identity. So we got cats that are thirsty. They ain't just thirsty to play well. They ain't just thirsty for success. They're thirsty for notoriety. They're thirsty for the recognition. And that's what we're discovering when we see some of these boneheaded mistakes that actually take place. You so caught up in you that you're not afraid enough of messing it up for your team. How many times what segment did we make famous? When I got up on the board and I said, don't let it be you. Don't let it be you. Just don't let it be you. It better not be you. You know, when you have that kind of fear, you lock in and you zero in on doing your job. And understand, we ain't talking football. We ain't talking sports. We're talking every walk of life that involves you and a collection of teammates in order to get a job done. Your number one priority should be making sure you ain't the one that mucks it up. You ain't the one that messes it up. And unfortunately, we got a few cats that just don't think. I'm not saying he did that intentionally or anything like that, but you're not thinking. I'd have benched his ass immediately. And if I didn't do it then, after the game, he would have known he wasn't playing next week. He'd have known that I was that salty about him. You only been in the league for 3 years. You only scored 3 touchdowns in your career. You act like you've been doing this forever. I mean, every touchdown should be precious to you. And sure enough, he walks up in there with that lackadaisical approach. Nah, he would feel it from me. I can tell you that much.
Listen, first of all, he needs to understand, bruh, you're not that guy. You're not that guy. You don't have that type of security on the team to even pull that type of stunt. That's number one. Number two, that football is your lifeline. Think of how many people their jobs are on, hanging the balance of that football. And so what happens is those type of plays will change games, change seasons. Okay, look what happened immediately after that play. The Titans come back and win the football game, okay? That's what happens in these type of situations. Momentum can be a very tricky thing in this National Football League. Last year, remember the Hail Mary with the Washington Commanders in Chicago? Where, Washington Commanders got it. And then what happened to both those teams? They went in polar opposite directions. Yeah. Washington took off. The Chicago Bears tanked.
A defining moment.
It was a defining moment. And so that's what these guys need to understand. You literally control guys' jobs, coaches, players, by one selfish and stupid decision with the ball.
It's not only the coach that should be ticked off. It should be Kyler Murray, because he just said last week, I hope I'm here. You just lost, bro. Jeez Louise. I'm having a conversation with our boy. Hey, man, coach, don't even worry about it. Sit him down. Matter of fact, we're going to sit him down, because that's unacceptable.
Right.
Unacceptable, but also, he's excited. Maybe that's why. And you mentioned that. He's
only
excited.
scored a handful of touchdowns. You should have been running through the end zone.
1572 Dolphins can pop some champagne again, because there will be no undefeated season this year. The Patriots handed the Bills their first loss of the season with a late game field goal. And then, meanwhile, the Broncos came back from a 14-point fourth quarter deficit to hand the Eagles their first loss of the season. The Eagles offense struggled yet again, with Devontae Smith saying their passing game needs to get on the same page. Peter Schrager here with us now from Jacksonville ahead of tonight's Monday Night Football matchup. And Peter, I'll start with you. Which loss was more concerning? Was it the Bills or the Eagles? All right, Stephen A., we'll start with you. Peter's having a little bit of trouble with his camera. Let's start with you.
Okay. In terms of what, I think that the more concerning loss for me was the Philadelphia Eagles. Mm-hmm. Because look at them. Look at how they've been playing. Both sides of the ball. I mean, listen, when you look at Denver, you can't get them off the field for 12 minutes, for nearly 12 minutes. They come back from a double-digit deficit, outscore you 18-0 in the fourth quarter. Where's the defense? Where's the offense? On the offensive side of the ball, you're running the football just twice in the entire second half. You're throwing the football 38 times. You're going up against your supposed identity. Why? Because you're hearing noise from folks about A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Nick Sirianni has to make up his mind. Are you the boss or not? And conduct yourself accordingly in terms of doing what you can to prioritize winning football games instead of appeasing people. I'm not saying that A.J. Brown shouldn't get the ball, because I know that he should. Devontae Smith can ball as well. I want them to get the ball. I think the Eagles' primary identity should be throwing them the football, to be quite honest with you, because I think they've got that kind of talent in their passing game, even though Saquon can be absolutely electrifying. But we also got to recognize the fact that Saquon Barkley was somebody that, listen, on their best day, you ain't gonna see cats running for over 2,000 yards every season. There are certain things that are outliers. They stand out, and it's an anomaly, and it's a deviation from the norm. And last season, as great as Saquon Barkley last season was a deviation from the norm. Usually, you look at him, you'll say, 13 to 1,500 yard rush or whatever. But he's a spectacular kid, and he did his thing last year. This year, people are going to key on him more, which should free up A.J. Brown, Agata, the Devontae Smith, and others. You got to take advantage of that if, indeed, Jalen Hurts can throw that football, which we believe he can. And so the fact that the Eagles lost this game is one thing, but the fact that they shed their identity, they don't seem to know who they are, they don't seem to be married to a certain culture, a certain way of winning football games. I think that's something that could be incredibly alarming, and we should pay attention to that.
Well, when you take in the fact of how they've been winning their football games, they've had a lot of help from opposing teams. Well, this particular week, like I said earlier, the Broncos won the game that they typically win. There are three issues that come to mind. Number one, Kevin Patullo. What's your flow, bro? Like, what are we doing? We've been having issues, since the beginning of the season. It's like, is he the right guy for the job? Okay, number two, the offensive line. Hey, it's not just giving up 6 sacks is something that is heavily alarming, but also why can we not run the football when we need to, when we want to, and when we have to, right? Saquon Barkley is the most talented running back, if not one, top two. You dig what I'm saying? He's one of them type of guys that is a every down back. We cannot get them going. And that's a testament to the offensive line. And my last thing is talent utilization. Like, how do we use all the talent in the right way? Of course, you only got one football. You have 5 studs at least on the one side of the football. So being able to keep everybody happy is going to be one thing. But on the other side, it's like, hey, Coach Kev, like, how are you planning to make sure whose game is it going to be today? Because it's not like we have an identity of knowing how your plan of attack is. It's like you're all over the place.
Stephen A., who are you more confident in terms of getting to the postseason, getting deep in the postseason? Is it this Bills team or is it the Eagles?
I think it's the Bills from a de facto perspective. When you look at the AFC, the Chargers doesn't appear to be what we thought they would be. Denver is good, but how good are they? Baltimore clearly doesn't appear to be what we thought they would be. Same could be said for the Steelers. New England's on a come up. Miami and the Jets are trash. I mean, what is there to look at? When you look at the AFC South, obviously Indianapolis is a surprise. They're definitely a surprise. Jacksonville is still relevant. The Kansas City Chiefs have given us every indication they're not going anywhere, so I get that part. But the bottom line is that if we had to bet our money at this particular moment in time, Cam, we'd say Kansas City, Buffalo. That's what we would say. That's what we'd bet our money on. In the NFC, you don't know. It could be Detroit. It could be Green Bay. It could be Tampa Bay. It could be the Rams. It could be Seattle. It could be a few teams. It could be the Commanders after what we saw them do to the Chargers yesterday.
Let's go back to the original question. More concerning loss, the Eagles or the Bills?
I thought Stephen A. just laid it out really well. I do look at Buffalo, though, and I wonder if they're a little bit nervous about what they just witnessed last night in their building. That was a national coming out party for Drake May. And for the last 5 years, the Buffalo Bills have had a cakewalk in that division. And I know you could say, well, the Dolphins went to the playoffs a couple of times. The Bills dominated the Dolphins in the big games when it mattered, whether it be a playoff game when Skylar Thompson came into their building or it was a late season game with the playoff #1 seed on the line. I look at what Drake May did, 6 for 6, fourth quarter, 13 of 14 in the second half. And now that's the micro. Okay, the Patriots are here. Like, they're going to be a competitor this season. Then you think of the macro. And wait a second, there was a window with the last 5 years where we dominated the Jets, we dominated the Dolphins, and we dominated the Patriots, and we have no Super Bowl appearances to show for it. The window's not closed for Buffalo by any means. But Amina, Cam, Stephen A., I have to wonder if they walk out of that building and say, you know what? Yeah, we lost last night, but what beast did we just see awaken in the AFC East? And wait a second, did we not take advantage of a half decade of feudal division opponents?
Ooh, Cam, what does that window look like?
Well, I think hold on, Cam. Hold on, Cam. Peter, I appreciate you, man. And from that angle, it's not an insult. It's a compliment because I love him. But from that angle, you look like the Joker, bro. You look like the Joker from Batman.
Let's go.
I want you to know that. My cheeks puffing out like that. All right. But here's the deal. Shout out to the late great Heath Ledger. But let me say this to you. Man. I think we got to pump the brakes. I mean, what did you say about the Patriots? Some monster coming up? I mean,
did we watch the birth? The beast awoken.
I don't know. I think it's going a little bit too far. Patriots are good. They're on the come up. Vrabel can coach. Stephon Diggs can play when healthy. Drake May is showing us a little something. I got that part. Ramondre Stevenson on boards. I got it. But, they could be, you could be awakening a monster. Let's pump the brakes on that one. Let's calm down, okay? I ain't going to go that far on the Patriots. Not that far.
Cam, does Peter need to pump the brakes?
I'm going to take a different angle.
Okay.
What a difference a year makes. Think about this. This time last year, we were calling the AFC the League of Supers. And then calling the NFC the League of Pedestrians. However you want to call it. Jared Goff was really unproven, or you didn't want to hang your hat on Jared Goff. Baker Mayfield was Baker Mayfield, right? And then you have, on the opposite, you have Lamar Jackson playing good football. Josh Allen obviously became the league MVP. You had Patrick Mahomes still doing Patrick Mahomes things, and Joe Burrow at the same time. You had a dominance of talent on the AFC. Now, fast forward to 2025, where it's like it is completely flipped. What about Jordan Love? What about Daquavius Prescott? He has something to say. When you start to think about Sam Darnold, when you start to think about all these talented quarterbacks and players and teams on the NFC side, it's like, oh my goodness, how things have changed. So whether it's the Patriots, they have an opportunity, but to say that they're going to dethrone the Buffalo Bills at this particular point, no, because I don't see Buffalo really playing a game like that where they have 3 ugly turnovers. A box snap,
right?
A calculated interception where it's like, bro, you forcing it. Josh, we got points right there. It's field goal range. And then on top of that, you got Coleman fumbling. It's a lot of these things that you're typically used to seeing the Buffalo Bills get takeaways, but they were on the opposite side of that spectrum yesterday.
Yeah, it was uncharacteristic.
Spot on.
Peter, I'll let you let
I look at it this way. I still have the Bills winning Super Bowl this year. I said that before the season. They came into this game the number 1 team. They're going to leave the number 1 team. I believe they finally have an adversary that they need to look at in that division, which for the last 5 years has been a cakewalk. And this was the season with Baltimore slow out of the gates, with Houston slow out of the gates, with Kansas City slow out of the gates. This could have been the season where they just cakewalk to the number 1 seed, last season in that building. Let's go host the playoffs and let's have this heroic. It still can be, but I think last night was a bit of a wait a second now. We might have some opponents in this division we have to actually lose some sleep over. I'm still all in on Buffalo. I'm with you guys. I do believe last night, though, we saw the birth of a guy, Drake May, that might be in this conversation over the next several years.
You know what last night said to me, Peter? You know what it said? You know what it said to me, Peter Schrager? The Buffalo Bills could, they could make the Super Bowl. They remind me of the Buffalo Bills that lost 4 straight Super Bowls. I could see them going to the Super Bowl and losing again. That's what I said it. I said it. Damn right I said it. No shade to Josh Allen, who's an absolute stud. But Jim Kelly wasn't trash. You understand what I'm saying? Thurman Thomas wasn't trash. Bruce Smith wasn't trash. They had some elite brothers on those squads as well that looked really, really good. And then they'd run into an NFC foe in the Super Bowl that was a juggernaut. That's what I mean. If the Bills remind me of anything, it would be that. Not them winning the Super Bowl. I don't know what recollection you'd have to fall on to place them in that position, Schrager. I'm sorry. I'm not giving them that.
I don't know. Peter's pretty good at predicting those things, so I'm not gonna lie. I might lean on Peter for that one right there. All right, let's take a break.
What evidence do you have, Amina? What evidence do you have of that? I don't recall that.
He has picked some Super Bowl wins, though. Peter has picked some Super Bowl wins, so I'm gonna lean on him for that.